I'm Mary. Just before I speak about my piece, I do want to almost kind of speak about writing the piece, just because when we were given the commission for this, we were told to write about what got us into the arts, what it's like to work in the arts and be in the arts, and what our future is for the arts. And we were told about this, I would say, late spring, early summer, and it was for November, so I instantly forgot about it. I was like, cool, that is not my problem right now. And then at the end of the summer, my mother passed away. And it was very tough, but I'm working through it. And eventually, end of October came and I was like, okay, that piece I had commissioned is on in 2 weeks. I should really write that. I should really start working on that. So I start working on it. And I start writing my own versions of what my girlhood was like, or my own versions of rehearsing how to talk to other girls in a mirror, because I'm not very good at communication. But every time I sat down to write a piece, it would start becoming about my mother. And I was like, no, scrap it, start again. And I'd start another piece. And I'd bring my mother up again, and I was like, no, scrap it. So I went through, I want to say, 4 drafts of this, until I finally said, you know what, this is just what the piece is going to be about. So this is called Susan Locked Away. I'm scared. I'm scared to speak about the heart of it all. The heart of my writing, the heart of my work, the heart of me, my mother. Susan, locked away beneath dirt, reaching her fingers through the cage in my chest where I keep her. My mother died, and with her she took the little girl she raised. My mother died, and now I am woman. I wear woman. I dress her nicely. I lay her clothes on the bed for her, and I tell woman who we will be seeing today. Woman smiles, wears her makeup, and unbidden, Susan, locked away, rattles the cage, and the little girl in there cries at the sight of her. But I am not scared. I am woman, not girl. Woman tries to understand grief. Grief is built into the walls of my home. It haunted the house that the little girl grew up in. Little girl could not grieve her father. Grief lives in memories. Little girl couldn't grieve what she couldn't remember. Dad, unlocked and free. Susan, locked away, wails. I put woman to bed so she can rest. I kick the cage with the girl so she stays there, and I smoke my last cigarette of the night at the back door. I'm glad to wear my glasses because the stars are out. The same stars that have always been there, the same stars that my mother looked at. And suddenly my body folds back and I become my mother, grieving her great love gone, alone with 5 children looking at the stars. I am my mother, and I am scared. I am Susan, and I'm angry with the hand I've been dealt. Susan, locked away, smokes my last cigarette of the night with me. I am my mother in the same way she was once the little girl. I am my mother, and I want no pity. The girl in the cage cries, and I make sure to double-check the lock as I shove Pity into the cage too. Pity grows teeth in the cage. Pity becomes canine, and it growls. The Pity dog is starved, hungry enough to bite the reaching hand. The Pity dog howls a howl so piercing, my ears bleed with the echo of its want. It howls and howls, and the Pity dog's teeth grow bigger and sharper with the hatred of its own need. The dog thrashes in the cage, and I ignore its whining because I am my mother and I need no pity. I will kill the Pity dog and shred it with teeth of my own, maw dripping red and frothing, and I will win against the Pity dog. I will kill the pitiable thing. The Pity dog is gone, devoured. It lives in the cage with my mother. The dog is dead. Woman, bloody, washes her face. Susan, locked away, watches woman, who watches the girl, who holds the devoured Pity. No one holds the girl. Woman washes her face again, the taste of blood reigns. Susan, locked away, watches. Pity, panting, licks its wounds and bites the girl anyway. Woman, girl, dog, Susan locked away. I'm running out of space in this cage. But I'm going to be better than this. I don't want to be angry at the hand I've been dealt. I don't want to lock my mother away. I don't want the girl to grow up in the cage. I am woman, and I want to be happy. The foundations of my house are made of grief, but I can rebuild. I can start again. No bad thing is permanent. I'm going to grasp the good things with both fists, and I will hold on to them, and I will love the good things, and I will let the good things love me. I will take care of woman. I want woman to be happy. I will figure out what her favourite foods are, and I will learn to cook for her. I will buy fruit for us, and I'll cut it into pretty shapes. We'll go for walks together through the woods, and together I will understand her and who she could be. And on our walks, I'll tenderly put a collar on the pitied dog and bring him with us. When woman and I find an open field, I will let the dog run free. Woman and I will laugh at the dog chasing its own tail, pity finding pity in itself. When we get home from our walk, I will light a warm fire for us all, curled up in the heat of the hearth. I'm going to try to love the little girl my mother raised, because my mother loved that little girl. When little girls shouted instead of talked, my mother did her best. When the little girl came home crying from school because other little girls were mean, my mother did her best. When the little girl started secondary school and stopped talking, my mother did her best. My mother paid for writing classes we couldn't afford for that little girl. My mother drove that little girl to and from rehearsals for every play that the little girl did. My mother went to each and every show and performance that little girl poured her little girl heart into. The iron bars of the cage are made of grief. Susan, locked away, is dead. But still, she is in me. I am my mother, and I am alive. My mother lives in the stars we both stared up at while smoking our last cigarettes of the night. Susan lives in the coffee I drink every morning. She lives in the chair beside the fireplace that I haven't moved yet. She lives in my art. Susan is gone, but she did her best. I am my mother. I am a little girl. I am woman. The dog begins to howl again, but the cage door has always been open. Thank you.